Here we go again. This may be the first one, if it's the first one didn't show up. It's September 21st, 2014. This is my mommy, Josie. We're in Florida, in Boca Raton, and my godson, Adam.
And my
his godfather.
He's the godfather.
Okay. So Adam
He's
was
my
asking
daughter
you,
Josie's son.
So Adam was asking you what the earliest you can remember of me and I guess Bobby and Susie and everybody also.
Do you remember what it was like, that first feeling to be a mother?
Oh, it was wonderful. Living in Brooklyn, and Billy was the firstborn in the family, and it was a thrill having a baby because he came at a time where he rejuvenated the family. My brother had passed away. Excuse me.
Where was I born in Brooklyn? Do you remember? Where you were living or anything like that?
Bay Ridge? Born in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, but we moved a few times, so. But he was such a good little boy growing up, never a problem. He used to love to sit in his high chair and play with little toys. He'd play with little toys in the high chair.
Yeah.
And it's too bad I don't have that high chair anymore.
It's probably a good high chair.
I did have it for years.
And then what was day-to-day life like in Brooklyn?
Oh, day-to-day? It was a good life. My husband was a very good father. And
what was he working at in the beginning?
He worked for the telephone company.
Yeah.
He came out of the service.
Yeah.
And he went right into the phone company. It was the only job he had for, I don't know, how many years, Sue?
He retired from the phone.
He retired like at 62.
Yeah, but he worked for the phone, 55 years, I think. Yeah. He worked for the phone company.
Yeah. But he started as what, a lineman?
He started as a...
Climbing the poles and
stuff?
stuff?
Yeah, he worked at wireman inside.
Inside?
Inside, yeah, he worked inside, repairing, making sure the phone lines kept going.
Yeah.
And he worked his way up, and he went to college at night for 11 years.
Yeah.
He went to Brooklyn Polytech to get his engineering degree, and then he got promoted with the phone company.
Yeah.
And he became a
electrical
engineer with the phone company.
But during those 11 years, you were having a lot of babies, right?
Yes, he had 7 children.
Found the time.
7 children in all those years. And he was Bill was a good dad.
She's getting out of the picture. Let's keep her in the picture. Yeah, let's keep
Sorry I look this way, but
no, it's all right.
I just didn't put any makeup on today, and have a little bit of a cold. But anyway, we've been having a beautiful day today. Very, very happy and wonderful with everybody here. And last night was great. All the kids were here. Had a great time with the family. And it's just always a thrill when you come to visit us. Of course, it's going to be sad when they leave.
Yeah.
But we're not going to think about it right now.
Well, we still have another day and a half. We still have another day and a half.
Tomorrow we're going to hopefully enjoy the day, if it's not raining here.
Rain like crazy
It's
today.
It's been raining real bad today.
Not all day.
But they got to see rain. And, and not only rain, but loud thunder. So it's a little bit different than California.
Yeah. But can you think more about what happened in Brooklyn? Stuff that happened in Brooklyn?
Tell us about when you were 12 years old, you were a seamstress and you worked for that.
Well, I went to a vocational school in Brooklyn, New York. It was called Sarah. It was called Women's Garment Trades, and they changed the name to Sarah J. Hale. And I used to take the subway every day to school in New York, and after school, and go to work in New York City.
You were in high school?
I was started in first year of high school working for a lady named Bella Usba. She owned a small private dress shop where we sold expensive dresses, and she taught me how to do the alterations on these beautiful clothes. And she was very kind to my family and to me. And she used to give my mother nice dresses. My mother never had a dress that cost like $40, $50, and she would always pull out a dress for my mother. You remember that, Susie?
Was your father still alive then?
My father died at 44 years old. He was young.
And how old were you then?
I was 12.
You were 12?
I was in high school. It was very sad.
But you were working for this lady when you were like 13 or 14 years old?
14 years old I worked for her.
Yeah.
I got the job through the school. I went to a vocational high school and we had a program at the school where they gave you, if you needed to work, they got you jobs after school.
Oh, and when you were in school, you had 4 sisters and a brother. Did you have boyfriends and girlfriends then?
Sure, I had boyfriends and girlfriends.
Yeah. So what was that like?
It was fun,
Yeah.
like any teenager.
Did you have a different boyfriend all the time, or just?
I really.
She had a few girlfriends in between too.
I don't
Boyfriends and
remember
girlfriends, she said,
too
right?
much of that. I guess I don't want to even care to think about it. It's not-
Who? How about your sisters?
We all had a boyfriend, you know. We always
Yeah.
had girlfriends. Our house was always full.
Full of people.
My mother always
Joyce,
let us.
get your head in it for a second.
My mother always let us bring our friends home. Our house was always full.
Like you did.
And and there was always enough, even though we didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
There was always enough food to feed it for free of friends. They were always invited to eat, and I can't complain about my childhood.
What was your brother
was-
like when he was?
My brother
young?
was a doll.
Yeah,
He just died too young. He was
Yeah.
only 23 years old.
but was he close to your age?
Yeah, he was 15 months older than me.
Well, you were
His
Joseph
name,
and
his name
Josephine.
was Joseph, and
Right.
I was Josephine.
Right.
And it was a real heartbreaker for us when he died. He was killed by a hit-and-run driver.
And what was he like in school?
He was smart.
Yeah.
He was the sweetest, kindest, gentlest soul.
What did he look like?
We looked a lot alike,
Yeah.
but he was very handsome.
Did he have girlfriends?
He
And
had
you were
one
beautiful.
girlfriend,
Yeah.
and she was heartbroken when he died.
Oh, you mean even when he died, he had a? What about in high school? Did he have
No,
girlfriends
he
then?
didn't. He was a good student. He was in the service,
Yeah.
and then he came out, and
Did you all go to church every Sunday?
yeah, we went
Did
to
you
church.
go together, all of you?
Yeah, well, we went. Some went with my father, some went with my
Yeah.
mother. My mother spoke broken English. We taught her how to speak English.
Yeah.
We taught her how to write some English too, because they were from Lebanon,
Right.
and actually Lebanon didn't exist then. It was Syria.
What did your
Oh,
dad do?
that's
interesting.
Yeah, and
What business did your dad do?
my father worked for a silk mill in Brooklyn, New York. It was a factory, and there were a few factories in that area. And 30 down on First, Second Avenue in Brooklyn, New York, around 39th Street, and there were factories there.
What did
And
he
my
do?
father-
Was he a-
He worked in a silk mill.
Yeah, but was he working at the silk,
Yeah,
or was
he
he a
worked-
bit manager? Or?
He worked at the silk mills, and they made they colored the silk
With
threads
dyes?
with dyes. Yeah, and he died from the dyes
Yeah.
that got into his system.
Oh, watch
And,
your hands. They
He
covered
died.
it.
Yeah,
They covered
he
his face.
died. He was only 44 years old,
Yeah,
and left my mother with 6 children.
and she didn't work.
No, well, she couldn't work. She spoke broken
So
English.
how did you survive?
And in those days, women didn't go out to work like they do today.
Yeah, but you had
We
all.
survived.
6 kids?
We were on welfare for many years.
So you got a
we were
check
on
from the
welfare.
government. You got
My mother she had to go sign every week.
yeah.
You had to go every week to sign to get a welfare check. And they used to give us an allowance for clothing every 3 months or something like that. And my cousins, I had cousins from Pennsylvania that would come and bring us bags of groceries. They were cousins from my mother's side of the
Were
family.
they the boluses?
The Bolus family. They were very good to us when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And I will never forget them. They were
Grandma
kind,
Catherine met
all kind,
Jig.
kind to all of us. Yeah.
Do you remember like when Catherine and Jiggs got married?
Yes, I do remember because,
You had to have special permission.
yeah, we had to get
Some
special
cousins
permission
or
from the church for them because we were actually we were second cousins.
Right.
Yeah.
But because you had to get permission from the church to get married
Yeah.
with your cousin.
What about Uncle Al and Aunt Betty? Do you remember their wedding?
Oh yeah, I remember. They had a small wedding.
Had they met?
How'd they meet?
Uncle Al was in the service, and Aunt Betty and I used to go to Roseland Ballroom in New York
Oh,
City.
the real Roseland.
They went
Wow.
trolling for men.
We met Aunt Betty met Uncle Al at Roseland Ballroom,
Yeah.
and I met Bill at Roseland
At
Board.
Roseland. Was that the USO?
Uh-huh.
Who was the USO?
Well, I joined the USO, and so did my sister Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
used to go once every week to dance with the servicemen. And sometimes we date them, and that's where I met my husband, Bill.
Yeah.
And
what about Aunt Adele? She got married later because she was so young,
Aunt
right?
Adele was the youngest of
Yeah.
the 6 children, and she had scoliosis real bad, and she was in a cast from her neck down to her hips.
For how long?
below
Any
the-
questions?
She was 12 years old.
She goes along.
Yeah, and
She was in a cast? Aunt
yeah, she
Louise?
was in a cast. No, Aunt Adele.
Aunt Adele. Oh,
She was
right,
the
Aunt
youngest
Adele.
of the
That's right.
six
How
children.
did she meet Uncle Bill?
At work, right?
Yes, they worked. She met Uncle Bill from where they worked,
Uh-huh.
and he's such a wonderful guy, really kind and a gentle soul.
Mhm.
And they had 5 beautiful, lovely children, and they lost one son, Richard, who was my godson, and he died of pneumonia. And 4 are still fine. They live on New Jersey and Long Island, and great kids. And I love them all, and I know that they care about me.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. Wish I could see them more often. Hope you know.
They see each other a lot in New Jersey at Kevin's
Yeah, they
house,
do.
too.
They do.
Shippers.
Billy
The
and
Shippers.
Kathy have gotten close to them too. But anyway,
So what about some more? Let's see. So we covered all the sisters and the brother and
Yeah.
everything. You had all these cousins, too.
lots of cousins.
And Long Island and Connecticut and everywhere.
Yeah, Long Island. Yeah, and my father's brother, Uncle Mike, had three children. Well, they had 4, and one died, but they had a son named Richard, and a daughter Vivian and Teresa. And Vivian was the oldest, and then was Richard, and then my cousin Terry, and I think they had adopted one child. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But to this day, my cousin Teresa just died this
Yeah.
year. This year, Sue? This year. She died this year. We were the same age, a month apart.
Used to play together, right?
Yeah, we
July of
played
this year.
played together as kids, but
Yeah. Oh, when you were
when we
talking
saw
about-
each other.
And you were talking about Margie and Jimmy, John
Yeah.
Schuster.
Yeah,
And
Margie
also-
and Johnny were Joycey, my daughter Joycey's godparents. They were wonderful godparents.
And they lived on Long Island?
They lived in where, Joyce? In Rockaway or something like that.
Yeah.
They
On Long Island.
yeah. Then they moved to Long Island.
And
yeah.
who was Jimmy Caracan?
Jimmy was Margie. Margie and Jimmy were brothers.
Oh, okay.
My Aunt Lily's children, and then Aunt Lily from her second marriage had 3 daughters, Gloria, Clara, and Shirley, and they've all since passed away. Actually, I'm the only living cousin, aunt, or whatever you want to call me. Of all,
Yay! And now, wait, tell us a little more about Aunt Larice, too, because she never got married.
Aunt
and her
Larice-
friend was Joni.
yeah,
Yes.
Aunt Larice's friend
That
Jody.
hit her
Well,
hard.
Joan
Johnny
was
died.
actually Aunt Adele's
Yeah, I know.
friend.
And
Yeah.
And then
Then
Aunt Adele
she
got married and Aunt Larice
became-
and
Became very
friends.
close.
yeah.
And did they work together, or they
No,
just hung out?
Jody
But they
lived
went
next
away
door to
together
us.
all the
Oh,
time.
she lived next
They
door?
lived right next door. We lived in apartments.
Do you remember where it was?
Yeah,
What street?
Brooklyn, New York.
What streets it was?
49th Street.
Oh, that was the 49th Street?
Jody and her
That's
mom
the
lived
one.
right next door to us,
Zinni.
and her sister. And
And what did
And-
Larice do? What
Larice worked in,
banking?
Money exchange.
money exchange in
Good choice.
in Brooklyn. I mean Wall Street, down by Wall
Near
Street.
the Trade Center, before the Trade Center.
The trade.
And she
center.
never got married,
No,
No,
Aunt
she
Larice
came
never
very
got
close.
married.
She
but she had a boyfriend for a while.
Yeah,
I remember there was only
She
like
had a guy that wanted to marry her,
Yeah,
but
she
she
did.
wanted us to approve, and we did not approve.
Why?
He was.
Because he just wanted a mother for his children.
He had 5 children.
Using her.
Whoa.
And she, yeah, and she just would have been a slave to him. And
Yeah, no way.
her mother? She came to us, to
Yeah.
the family. She
And
wanted
they
us to
didn't
approve him, and
think
we
it was a
didn't.
good idea
No.
No.
for obvious.
And you.
And my
We
sister
didn't
Larice,
like him.
Sister Larice and I are the only 2 survivors
Right.
of the family right now. Larice lives in Brooklyn, New York.
Westbury now, right?
Oh,
Westbury.
she
moved
Westbury.
I'm going to be doing
She's
that.
in Westbury,
Just want
Long
you to know,
Island.
I give you
Um,
credit.
And,
Wait,
she's-
okay, so, and you, well, let's go back to where you were working in Manhattan and living
Yeah.
in Brooklyn. You took the subway to
I
Manhattan?
took the subway every day.
And what kind of subway? Do you remember? It was the old-fashioned subway?
Yeah, it was the old-fashioned subway,
Yeah,
and I used to take the subway to work every day,
yeah.
back and forth.
No, she's talking about work.
Okay.
Kathy. She's gonna do something at work that's.
Anyway, it's been so many years, though. It's even hard for me to remember everything.
You're remembering pretty good.
Oh,
You're remembering very good.
Well, I do know when we
What-
would visit Nana, Billy and Bobby were young, and they would ride those subways.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you remember when we
all
used to
day
go
long.
into Brooklyn? And
Yes.
do you remember
They-
driving on the Belt Parkway
they
in
were
the
very-
station
Yes,
wagon?
I do.
And you
You
played
guys
the
used to
radio
sing
Yeah.
with all the kids?
That the
Ha-
Lord
Did all the
Bobby's-
kids go? The whole family
Yeah.
went?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you used to sit. Billy used to sit in the back seat, facing out the back window.
Sounds
I don't
You-
even remember that.
you
You
would-
remember that?
That
We used-
absolutely sounds like you.
Yeah, but she remembers it, and I don't.
Yeah.
And what? There was so many kids. There were 7 kids.
Yeah, well,
so how
we
did
used to-
every-
Thomas there one time.
We used to put you and Bobby in the back there like
Yeah.
that, and then the girls. I sat in the front with your father and put. You sometimes put one of the little ones
in between
in
you?
between
Yeah,
us.
because that's what we
Yes,
did.
very
Yeah.
They
unsafe.
would have seatbelts.
Extremely.
They wouldn't have seatbelts.
And you would put a baby in this little holder and just put it on the seat of the car.
Bridget,
They
remember
did.
Bridget loved to sit in the front seat
Oh,
between
yeah,
us? She always wanted to sit in the front seat between us.
When it was so deep.
And what kind of things did we do as a family?
Oh, we used to go on picnics
Every
a lot.
Sunday.
Where?
We went to Prospect Park, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We went to before all the other kids. We did a lot with you too, because you were the only child.
Well, they didn't move to Levittown. They didn't
Yeah.
buy their Levittown house until I was.
Le-
I
Levittown.
was 2 months old. They moved to Levittown.
Yeah, Levittown was built in 1949
Yeah. And how did you
Uh,
guys find out about it and go there?
through the newspapers and whatever. We
Yeah.
heard they were building,
And it was really. For
and
the-
it was
What's in
only
there?
for
What's
it was
service
only for
people.
the servicemen
Uh-huh.
that were coming out of the service or were in the service.
Yeah.
And you had to go. They had particular days. You had
Mhm.
to go and sign up. And I waited online for Aunt Larice came with me, and we waited online for like 4 hours to get signed up to get a house to live in
And then
Levittown.
Daddy
worth
picked
it.
out the biggest lot.
And
She got
we
the deposit
we had to
from
pick
Nana.
out the. No, I did.
You picked out the
I
house?
picked
You
it.
picked it out.
I
You
picked it out.
The
Yeah.
biggest lot.
And when you
I
had
had
that
to
house,
pick it out.
the yard had that motor parkway back
Yeah,
of it,
right, right.
Do you
Yeah.
remember anything about that? It was
Yeah,
the
well,
old motor parkway,
Old
right?
Motor Parkway, yeah. Before it became that, it was
Before
just
the sump was put in the
yeah,
back.
yeah. It was all open,
And
and
Daddy
your
made
kids
a
used to go
vegetable
down
garden.
there and play down in the big. We used to call it the sump.
Yeah. But before they made the
Before
sump, there was
it
like,
all
was a
one big
highway.
strip of
it was a
land.
strip
Yeah.
of land, but it
And
was,
Daddy said he planted all vegetables.
Yes,
and all
yeah. We
kinds
had a
of
victory
lettuce.
garden
Yeah.
back there,
yeah.
and I'm not talking too well because I'm dripping.
Great.
You're
You're
doing great.
You're doing
You're
great.
doing really
Tell them
good.
your
Mother gave you your deposit for the house.
Yes, you had to put $100
Really?
down.
$100.
$100 down
And the house
on
was
the house,
$8,000.
and the house was $8,000.
And you got a mortgage?
And
Yeah.
we got a mortgage without a problem because he had a steady. Your father had a steady job. He worked for the phone company. It was the
Mhm.
only job he ever had for 55.
No,
no,
35.
no, not 35.
More than 35.
No,
He retired at 62, and
He's-
he started when he was
Died at
18.
61.
no, he wasn't 18. He was.
When did he
Yeah,
start
when
getting...
21.
When did he start
Got out
getting-
of the service when he was
That's when
21.
Yeah.
he started, and then he went in the service, and then he went.
No,
She
no.
said he got out of the service at age 21.
He did. He was.
When did he start getting into the physical
41
fitness stuff
years.
with his,
Oh, he
his
was-
room, his office
Yeah,
there? and
he,
stuff?
Yeah, yeah. And
he
he kept
had
breaking his
he
toe,
retired
remember?
from the
He
phone
like
company
learned
at a young age.
At a young age.
And,
Okay. Like 50?
He retired
Or
to
like
work for himself, 55.
55. Okay.
Because you could retire. You could retire at 55.
He sold his ideas, energy conservation.
Remember, he had one of the first house
Yeah.
watches.
Yeah.
I remember.
Timer
So,
calculator.
but he had this room where he would
He had made himself,
exercise and,
yeah.
And he would
He
exercise.
He had his own
And,
radio
and the
tower and his
switches
own
that
radio
turn air conditioning
station.
off
Yeah.
when you're not in the building.
He built
He
one of
was
those,
very
But he used to keep
innovative.
charts on the
was.
wall of his exercise
Yeah,
and
he was
his
a
Yeah.
very
stuff
brilliant
like
guy.
that.
He became very athletic in
He would
his older
read and
age.
read that running was the best thing for your heart.
Yeah.
So then he went running.
He
which
got
is
people-
playing kids
And nobody
sneakers
ran
and-
yet.
And then his
Yeah.
diabetes. It was good
And he
for his
belonged.
diabetes.
He decided to join a gym,
Yeah.
and he made a lot of new friends
At the gym.
at the gym, and they used to go running together. And
And he was one of the first guys to go surfing at
He went
Gilgo.
back
Yeah.
to his
Yeah.
love of
he was
And he stood on
he was a
his head
surfer at
on
Gilgo.
his
Okay,
skateboard.
let her tell us. Let her tell us.
That's okay.
So,
they
now
can
tell us
me.
about the Gilgo stuff because we don't
Well,
really
he
know.
he loved to surf. He made his own surfboard.
He
first.
made that red one out of wood,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, he made a surfboard, and everybody at the beach was admiring it and complimenting him
He
for.
taught kids how to surf.
He taught many young people
And
at
he
the
knew
beach,
Charlie Bunga.
and my Joycey's telling me he knew Charlie Bunger was from Bunger Surf.
Yeah, but he had Daddy help him create
Yeah.
the surfboard.
Yeah,
With a hollow seat.
and
With a hollowed out.
but anyway, he was a good surfer, and he loved that. And any day that he could get off and go to the beach, he went to the beach.
Yeah.
But as he got older,
Remember we went to Montreal?
well, we followed the waves. We went all over. We took the kids with us.
You made the
And we
sandwiches,
would,
right?
yeah, we took food with us, and
One
we
of the
would
best things was
we would
going
rent
at night.
bungalows.
He'd come home a little
You'd
early.
rent bungalows?
and
Yeah, we
she'd-
would
Yeah.
rent
For a
places.
weekend, you mean? To stay for a
Yeah,
weekend?
yeah.
Whatever it was, I don't
Oh.
remember what we ate.
my hand.
It's that your hand hurts, right?
My fingers are not, yeah, numb.
Yeah.
But it was. I can't complain about
Well,
our,
we used to
our
go
life
for
on
rides
Long
on
Island.
Sunday.
What was-
Sometimes you were getting dinner ready, and Dad would take us in the car, and he would just
Go to the duck farm.
well, no, but besides that, he would just
Susie
travel
is
all
reminding
over.
me.
What?
All over. He would just go all over the island. It was an adventure.
Oh, just to
and we
drive
didn't
around?
even know where we were going.
Yeah.
Go to the duck place.
Duck
Right.
And we would
Duck
go to the
ponds
pickle
and-
store.
Yeah,
Oh, the
farm
pickle
We
store
would
in
get pickles.
Bethpage? In Bethpage?
Yeah, we would get pickles,
Thorns.
and
Zorns.
then we would get food at Zorn's. I can't complain. Our life was good on Long Island.
What were some of your favorite memories of Long Island?
Oh, there were a lot of good men. We had wonderful
The
neighbors.
parties.
Neighbors, the neighbors.
We had parties
you
at
had
our
toga parties.
yeah. We had wonderful
Not quite,
neighbors.
but almost.
And the
Can't
parades.
complain. We're,
Didn't you have
4th of
like
July
a
parade.
We would have-
parade and-
we would make up our own stuff to do for the holidays. We had parades
4th
on
of July, everybody's
Stevenage
gathered in our backyard.
Lane, and then we'd have a picnic in our backyard with all the neighbors. Anybody that wanted to come, and they bring their own basket of food and their chairs, and we had tables and benches,
And we
What a-
remember all of them.
and the kids would all play together. And Bill built big swings in the backyard.
And May's
And we had a
department store, we could see their
sandbox in the back.
fireworks.
And do you remember, like what it was like for the kids? Did we have to come in when it got dark, or did you lock the doors, or did you?
Well,
used to
you know
call
what?
us? You used to
We
call us
didn't
to
have
come
a
in?
fear
Locked
of.
us out of the house.
Yeah. So we used to. I used to say you had to be home at a certain time,
Well, as soon as the street lights came on, we had to
Yeah.
go in the house.
and it was. You know what? It was different times then. You
Yeah.
didn't have to worry like you do today. You got to make sure you lock your doors here and everything. In those times, everything was different.
And
You know, if you forgot to lock the door, you forgot to lock the door.
And what do you remember about me and Bobby? Did we used to fight with each other?
Yes, you did fight.
And
Your
he
father,
used to
Until
win,
you
right?
learned wrestling, and then you beat him.
Well, what were you saying about my father?
your father used to go upstairs and take give you
strap.
give you a whipping for fighting.
For fighting?
For fight- Shut up, but you were bad kids though. But I used to get then I used to get upset at myself
For what?
For
letting him beat you.
letting him hit you or whatever.
But then they,
Yeah.
Dad built them shoe shine boxes.
Yeah,
And
Do you
And
remember
you were
that?
how old? How old, Billy?
I
Were
think
you
like
Bobby?
11 or 12.
about 11.
Yeah.
Bobby was
Bobby
10.
was 10 and you were 12.
Yeah, they would
And they
shoe shine.
smoked at that age.
Whatever they did, they
They
did.
were smoking at that age. Because they
Yeah,
made
12.
money
I was
with
smoking at
Yeah.
12.
they were making money with the shoe shining.
So they could
would
buy cigarettes.
They would be dropped off at the train station on a Saturday.
And if we
10
made-
or 12 years old.
And if we made enough money, we'd buy train tickets and take the train into the city.
Right.
We didn't know that.
Yeah. Did you know that? Did you know we
Yeah, I
did
used
that?
to know that. You too.
You probably knew it after.
And I don't know if you, did you know
after.
that we used to go into the bars in Hicksville and
Yeah.
give shoe shines to the
Yeah.
drunk guys because they were the best tippers?
Yeah.
Well, one time you had somebody give you a big tip because he asked you what you wanted to buy with the money, and you said a watch.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you told him how much you needed, and he gave you the rest of the money you needed
Oh.
for the watch.
Do you
Wow.
remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Susie has
And,
good memories.
Yeah, he has.
And you
he
were,
doesn't-
do you remember how you started working in the movie theaters? Because you liked that, right? You enjoyed that?
Well, but Billy, my son Billy,
Right
used to
here.
work in the movie theater. He got a job as an usher in the movie theater with his friend Bobby Serrell, who lived up the block. And
Bethpage movie theater.
Bethpage movie theater, and they were working there for a couple of months, and then they needed a manager for
No, cashier. You started.
a cashier for the
Oh,
theater.
that's right, you cashier.
For one of the other theaters that he. So
The Levitt.
he asked. He told us. Well, he became friends with his boss, Mr. Rosen, and he used to pick Billy up for work. I used to give him a cup of coffee, and we'd sit and talk. And then one day he needed a manager, assistant manager, for the Bethpage Theater, and he said to me, "How about you go to work?" And I said, I would like that if I could do it. I said, I don't know anything about it. And he said, I'll teach you. And I took the job, and it was the best thing I ever did.
The rest is history.
And the rest
Right.
is history.
Excellent
Yeah.
And
manager.
you never even drove a car, but you had to get
I
a
never-
ride to work every day?
Yeah, the kids used to pick me up for work,
She'd hire kids
or
in the
my
neighborhood.
boss would come and pick me up
And
on his
Bobby
way.
worked at,
And you brought your own cleaning supplies.
I brought my
remember
aunt-
you- I remember. Yeah.
She brought her own.
And I
Well,
then
she would be cleaning with her
with the
index
kids.
and-
And
You did
then,
the inventory, Mom. You
and
did
then
the
I-
payroll. You did
Everything.
everything.
I learned to do a payroll.
7 kids.
I learned to run the theater.
Yeah.
And it was
Wow.
one of the best money making theaters that we had.
Even though your kids got in for free.
And
I-
So
seven
many
of
kids.
them.
But you enjoyed that
Yeah.
job, right?
I loved working in the movie theater. It was one of the best things in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
It helped my mind, and
Yeah,
it helped
yeah.
me be a better person.
Feel
And I,
useful.
it was just great for me. It was a
And
whole
it helped me
different.
make clothes because you also let a man in
Yeah.
that worked in or owned a fabric place, and he would give you the remnants, which was
Oh,
a
I
couple
forgot
of
about
yards.
that.
And so I got to make all my clothes
Yeah.
for high school and everything.
I got all
Made
about
Neighbor
that.
shirts.
dress.
Wow.
And so many kids from the neighborhoods remember you as their boss, right?
Yeah, I
And
used to give my kids' friends jobs, my neighbors' kids' jobs
I didn't make
as
you-
ushers or
You probably did,
cashiers.
but I remember
And,
his,
The you,
It was
me,
what you know.
Gary,
It was
him,
wonderful
I do
times,
remember that.
Yeah.
wonderful memories,
Yeah.
and you never could go back, but you could
You-
think about it.
You remember all
At
your
least you
kids'
have
weddings? You remember your kids' weddings? All of them?
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
Yeah. Even the ones that had more than one.
Bobby was the first, right? Bobby was the
Bobby,
first one?
Yes.
Bobby was the first. Married Carol,
Yeah.
and they married about 7 years, something like that,
Before they got divorced?
before they were divorced.
And
Yeah.
they made
Yeah,
a
he was-
beautiful baby.
They
Jennifer.
had 3 daughters.
No, they had one.
He had 3
They had
daughters, but
one.
they had
He
one.
had, yeah.
then you married
Well,
Jan.
and then after
anyway,
that, Billy and Kathy got married.
yeah.
And Bridget
And
and
then-
Jennifer were a
I-
month apart.
can you-
Born
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
year. Born
September
Yeah.
5th and October 21st.
And you remember
Yeah,
Susie
total
and Gary?
opposites,
That's
yeah.
Susie and Gary.
Susie and Gary got
Johnny
married
and
at the
Donna
house, and Billy got married at the house. Billy and
Well, we
Kathy.
got married at the judge. Remember the judge's
Yeah.
office?
Yeah, but the
and,
party was at
and the party was at the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and it was,
a
bad
nice
weather
party.
out, too.
Yeah.
We
What?
were all
Raining.
inside because it was
Remember
bad
they
Yeah.
wouldn't
weather.
let Nana in?
At the judge's office.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
they did. Remember they did
They did?
eventually.
Oh,
they
really?
did.
Oh, I didn't know
Because
that.
we was